welcome February. We're here. You're just checking them off one after the other. Before you know it, it'll be 2020. Anything. We're February today. And I was trying to figure out what to do for our monthly topics. And many times I speak in February about love. I mean, that's kind of a typical theme. But for whatever reason, John Randolph Price's book, The Practical Spirituality, just jumped out at me. And he told me, pick me. And I thought, no, I'm not picking you. I have to look for something to love. And it just kept, it was insistent that I pick it. Yes. And so I thought, okay, fine, I'll pick you. And so I imagine, though, in the course of the month, we will have love be sprinkling in one way or another. I think the reason why this book speaks to me at the current moment is because, and as I picked it up again and reread it, I was amazed how it correlates and is in so much sync with what we're studying now in our Science of Mind class, the Dr. Frederick Bale's work. And it surprised me because even, I had us change. Remember at the end of our prayers and so forth, we always, for eons, we've always said, and so it is, right? And that's just, we don't even think about it, we just say it. Well, I changed this up a little bit after reading Frederick Bale's, and we're saying, and it is so now, right? And we've had to work on that. And it is so. Randolph Price says the same thing. I hadn't picked that up. I hadn't recognized that Price also says, and it is so. So I think they must be kindred souls in some way or another. So I think maybe that's why I was on that wavelength as I picked him. But our topic this morning is entitled First Things First. And as I stated in the thought for the week, that means basically, cut to the chase, that we seek the kingdom of heaven. We seek the kingdom of God, which is within us. I want to give a quote from Christ. He said, "You are here in this carnation for only one purpose, to heal the sense of separation and awaken to your true identity. Your number one priority is to realize the Spirit of God within you, your spirit, your identity. Remember until you know yourself, capital S, and you will know God." To truly know and accept our oneness with the power and presence that has generated everything, that's putting first things first. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And we need to nurture and honor and bring forth this energy and essence that we are. And it takes time. It takes intention. It takes being willing to be available, to surrender so many agendas that we have going on in this earthly plane, and allowing the opportunity for our higher self to come forth and give us a little instruction. It takes, as our song this morning said, asking and expecting. We talk about the qualities of God. We talk about that God is love, and joy, and peace, and wholeness, and all of that kind of stuff. And yet, it's a challenge when we say that's all there is. That is it. Well, in reality, in a big R, that is all there is. But the challenge comes from our humanness when we look out into this world of form and we see lack, and we see confusion, and we see people that are acting strangely, probably not to their highest and best good in many different ways. And I was reading my Science of Mind magazine, and I wanted to share with you a portion of the article that was there called Hardcore Metaphysics, because I think that this helps explain our position. Charles Fillmore. Who's Charles Fillmore? Founder of Unity. Okay. Charles Fillmore wrote, "The starting point in spiritual realization is a right understanding of God. Although these paradoxes don't make sense to the intellect of humanity, spiritual understanding reveals the meaning to you personally. Be mindful that your concept about God is not God. Your thoughts about your mother are not your mother. She transcends your thoughts about her and exists separate and apart from your concept. The same is true about God. Can we know the infinite? Not really. There is a paradox that God is both principle and personal. God as principle is the impersonal, fundamental truth that functions through universal law. However, God working through you as the Christ, or the I am, is personal to you. God as principle transcends illness, poverty, discord, and problems. Only God's truth is real in the absolute. God in you guides you through your so-called problems, heals your body, leads you to success, expresses as love, manifests as joy, and provides for you when you align with the impersonal principles in mind. The impersonal becomes personal by being you and guiding you through life. I thought that made so much sense, to be able to understand this infinite being, bless you, is that principle, that impersonal law that we talk about, and yet it is living its life through each of us personally, through our own individual take on it. In my thought for the week, we read it a little bit earlier, but in my thought for the week, I did borrow the analogy of the light bulb from Bale's work this week, where he talks about the fact that there's energy, power, but if you didn't have the little light bulb, you wouldn't have the light. It has to be focused. All of that energy has to come down and be focused to have an outlet, to be expressed, to have a demonstration of some sort. So we, each of us, are the distribution points of this divine. I want you to stop and acknowledge that. And say, this is what I'm here for. First of all, what am I? I am love. Absolute, total, accepting, unconditional love. Love gives. There's no fear in love. I am joy. I am abundance. Look at all the things in life that are so abundant. That is what we are. That's our core self. And so I want to get something straight right now. When we have these ideas of lack, of fear, of limitation, of evil in the world, and we say, God is all, so God must be that. God is everything, so if there's evil in the world, then that must be God. Well, I want to tell you something. The evil that we experience comes from ignorance. That's all it is. There's a statement of being in the science of mind that is called the Statement of Being from the Institute of Religious Science. It says, man is a manifestation of spirit, and for it to desire evil for him would be for it to desire evil for itself. This is unthinkable and impossible, for it would cause spirit to be self-destructive. Therefore, we may be certain that the spirit of life is for and not against us. All apparent evil is a result of ignorance and will disappear to the degree that it is no longer thought about, believed in, or indulged in. Evil is not a thing in itself. It has no entity and has no real law to support it. God is love, and love can have no desire other than to bless all alike and to express itself through all. I want that clear. There is one power and one presence, not two. This is not a world of duality from a power standpoint. Yeah, this is a world of experience, of contrast, of light and dark and all of that. That's what we came here for. But there is one power that is generating life, that is supporting life, that is giving life. And it is good. And it is lovely. And it is everything of good report. So I want us to remember that truth. And whenever your mind, whenever your thoughts turn to evil or lack or less than, no, that's just a little appearance. That's a little glitch that happens in this earthly world plane. It's not the truth of me, and it's not the truth of any of us. I want you to get that. So, we as metaphysicians, when we get caught in those times when fear comes up or questions come up, we have these little tricks of the trade. And one of the tricks of the trade is affirmations. An affirmation is a short, succinct sentence usually, or a few words, that tell the truth in the face of whatever else that we're facing. And we had in class this last week an assignment to write down 7 statements of yourself. Now this is very important because we look at Louise Hay, we look at all of these affirmations from other folks, and they're perfect, they're wonderful. I read 3 of them in the morning, for sure. But the most powerful ones are the ones that you write yourself, that come from you, because this is your direct communication with Source. So we had this assignment to write out 7 statements, 7 affirmations that help us when we get into those times when we fall into, I call it amnesia, you know, when we forget what our truth is. And I wanted to share with you what mine were. You have this, obviously, by the way, is your homework, all of you. And those of you in class that didn't do it, especially you. Anyway. Mine is, everything is working together for my highest and best good. Everything is working together for my highest and best good. I will tell you the reason why that came up for me this last week was because as I was going through all of the consternation of dropping my phone in the toilet, and then going through all of the ways that, of course, it started dysfunctioning, and then having, thank you God, I had insurance, and, you know, I had everything backed up on the cloud, and I just had to order a phone and had to get it, you know, took a little while, but it was happening. But in that process, this affirmation came to me. Everything is working together for my highest good. Yes. Breathe. Number 2, my mind is the mind of God and therefore unlimited. 3, I am learning and growing. 4, I am open for more good than I have ever known. This is a little side shoot. This one I got from Michael Beckwith. He has, his is longer. So something I'm more open for more good than I ever known, realized, experienced, whatever. He has more words to it. But number 5, I am a guiding and uplifting force in society. 6, I know the power within me guides my ways to greater self-expression. And 7, I am here to release my divine qualities. Those are mine. You can borrow them if you want. But create your own for what's going on in your life today that speaks to you, that uplifts you, that brings you out of the muck and brings you up into the light. Let you be that lighter being that you are. You know, because angels, you know, flap their wings and they fly. You have to get up to do that. So I think that something like when things happen in our lives and we turn into Chicken Littles, you know, the Chicken Littles in the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Have any of us done that? Better believe it. Yeah. And yet we can sit here, and right now, what do we all do? We chuckle, we laugh. Isn't that silly? Isn't that funny? The Chicken Little, I mean, come on. The sky wasn't falling. He made a big presumption there. As do most of us when our sky is falling. Rumi said, if you are irritated by every rub, how will your mirror be polished? We are being polished by all of these episodes. We're being poked to remember to remember. In my drive down to work every day, well now 4 days a week, I turn on my spiritual playlist, and the very first one that I listen to is Pachelbel's Canon D. There's something about that just opens me up, places me in the kingdom. And when I hear it, what comes to mind is breathe, breathe and smile. Breathe and smile. There's something about it that just opens me up. And it was so interesting because as I was reading the Science of Mind magazine this last month, there was an article in there about a gal who was a coach of some sort, and she was talking about whenever you have anything happen to you, think about it as a coaching experience. Now, how can you coach yourself through this? And then in big bold letters, she says, and here's my mantra of what I use. Breathe, smile, repeat. And it took me back a little bit because I thought, that's my mantra. Obviously, we are all one, and she connected into it too. But breathe and smile and repeat. That's an easy one. I'll recommend that one. Breathe, smile. When you put a smile on your face, it's pretty hard to feel the sky is falling. One tiny little trick, that's all it takes. So as I was going through my consternation with my phone, I went through all the little processes of it as it came up, putting in the insurance, and you know, it's so funny because I was concerned that the insurance people wouldn't know the phone that I had because I had changed it, and are they going to replace with my old phone? And you know, and it's silliness because they said, no, I don't know how many times I went to the Verizon store, 3 times to help me, just to make sure that I knew what I was doing. And so finally the phone came, was ready to get it fixed, so I went to the Verizon store, of course, asked the guy to help me. I was talking with somebody the other day, I said, yeah, I pulled the senior card. Oh, I don't understand this. Can you help me? And the fellow said, you know what, this would be so much easier if you did it at home. Number one, you have Wi-Fi? I said, yeah, I got Wi-Fi. Your Wi-Fi is much quicker. Our Wi-Fi here is going to go through all these computers and everything, take an hour to do, and I'd have to charge you $20. Take it home and do it. I said, okay. You know, and so again, I'm at home thinking, I don't know what I'm doing. So I call my son. My son says, Mom, have you tried to do it yet? I said, no. Mom, try it. Then call me back. So, I braved myself up. Yes, I can do this. And I pushed the buttons, I did these things, and I did it. And I texted him back and said, I did it! Yay! And he sent me back the thumbs up. This is just an example. I don't know about you, but this is things that come up for me, is that I don't have this confidence that I know what to do, especially with technology. And you know what? I did. Yes. And we all can do that too. Well, we got a reverb going on in this, don't we? Oh well. So I want us to recognize that we are here as infinite beings. And yes, we're going to have instances where we're going to be polished so that our mirror can shine brighter, so that we can let this light that we are, that is within us, out. It's perfectly fine. All is well. Breathe. Smile. Breathe. Okay, you can laugh too. And smile. I want to read to you, which it just amazes me how things are so coordinated. One of the readings that I have, one of my daily readings, is Eileen Katie. This was her reading for today. As you follow my laws and obey them. Now this, of course, is being written via the, like a download method, so to speak, because this is God's voice speaking. As you follow my laws and obey them, your life becomes rich and mightily blessed. Disobey these laws, and sooner or later you will find yourself slipping downhill until you realize where you have gone wrong and are determined to rectify those wrongs. You found yourself in some pool of quote unquote evil, right? This is when you have to start putting first things first. And when you have to turn away from your waywardness and seek me and my kingdom. It is not easy to do when you have reached rock bottom and feel there is no purpose in life. Yet it is what you will have to do. Put your feet on the bottom rung of the ladder and start climbing, no matter how difficult it may appear at the time. As you pull yourself up to the next rung and gradually work your way out of the despair you have sunk into, life will begin to change for you, and you will find a real purpose in your life and in living. We all go through dark nights of the soul. I mean, this is an experience of life. Know that whatever is there in your experience, that you are up to coming through it and beyond it and above it. Being that shining example for someone else. When you get up on that higher rung, reach back and help someone else. I believe that's what we're here for. So I want us all to truly live from our higher power at all times, using those mantras that you come up with, using those affirmations you come up with, breathing and smiling, doing your very best, and all is well, and it is so.